This is absolutely Essendon. Yes, we're back in 2025. Lots to cover in our first episode, Season 3. Much has been happening off the field. Merritt with a new contract. Yes, a little surprising. Lots of players lighting it up on the track, and lots of other goings on, even at other clubs. We might touch on that as well. So pull up a pew, sit down, buckle up, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a cracker of an episode. So, it's we've had withdrawal symptoms, haven't you? I have.
Well, it's been a long break. It has been a long break.
We've had an extended break, haven't we?
Oh yeah, and so much has been happening in the world of football. My mind sort of drifts to the cricket for a little bit of time, and the tennis sort of distracts you about half a minute, and then
it does.
All of a sudden, it's back on the back pages of the Herald Sun, and we're here to report on all of the news around the great Essendon Football Club and a little bit around the rest of the competition. And I'm looking forward to a huge Season 3. You know, they said we wouldn't make it past Season 1, and here we are. So
there's a lot of surprise that we're still hanging around.
Absolutely.
We're still flogging this horse.
Well, yeah, we are, and I mean, let's keep flogging it. So
it's our love of the club, and that's why we're back. And
correct.
It's been a busy off season, and we always talk about do we become deluded in the off season. So I think what we want to talk about today is what is the sentiment? Is that delusion back? New season, new hope, or do we know better?
Yeah, well, I mean, that wasn't on the running order, but fair enough. Do you want to go into that right now?
Oh, all right.
Is it peak delude? What do you call it?
No, that's just
peak delusional period.
Yes, yeah, all right. Don't,
I thought that was like December 30.
Don't complicate it. It's not Shakespeare.
Okay.
Okay, no, but I think what we do want to talk about first...
bit of news. I think we want to get straight into the news, right?
I think so. Can we talk about... Because, normally Essendon is the purveyor of sort of controversial news, nasty news that maybe suggests that, culture at the club isn't right. But one of our foes had a bit of off-season shenanigans where the president had to go.
Well, he did have to go.
He had to remove himself.
I think it was a pretty limp decision by Carlton to take so long in actually making a call on what should have been done after the first day. I mean, look, we're not judging. We're not judging.
Oh, you're so you're the king.
But we're talking about an incident with the ex-president of the Carlton Football Club, and look, this is all alleged. We don't know the full truth of it.
No,
we do. But Luke Sayers is no longer down at Carlton, and the place is falling apart.
Well,
and that can only be good for football.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of... Well, no, I don't really feel bad. But, as a club, they were kind of getting their act together. And as we know, that has to happen from the very top down.
Yeah.
And if you're not across it, there was an incident with a what do you say, a dick pic.
I don't think you can say that, but...
Yeah, what do you mean?
Well,
isn't that at the centre of what happened and why he had to step down?
It was.
Right, okay. Now, apparently someone allegedly hacked into his phone and...
the IT department at Carlton, proved that was not the case from day one. And it was never a hacking. It was somebody sent a picture from his phone. I think the question is who sent it. Right. And there's various sort of rumours running around about that. And we're not here to sort of say way or another what those rumours are and whether they're true or not, but needless to say, Luke Sayers is no longer a part of the Carlton Football Club, and I would just send a warning to all football club presidents: make sure you keep your phone away from your wife. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Right?
All I'm saying, she could be Latin. I don't know,
right.
But you've got to be careful, guys. You know what I mean. So
update your passcode regularly.
Please, yeah. Make sure.
So we're not saying, hey, act with integrity.
God, no.
Just fix your passcode.
I mean, he's a boy doing what a boy does.
So, all right. Well, I mean, it just makes me think of all the great empires that have been brought down
by dick pics.
Well, let's just say incidences with the fairer sex. I mean,
you'd need a bloody panoramic fisheye lens if you wanted to fit Patrick Cripps into one of those photographs.
Is that right?
He's a little more upstanding.
Because you were at the urinal next.
I was standing next to him
at the Brownlow.
at the urinals.
Are you flexing on your Brownlow urinal?
I still am.
Situation.
And Paddy Cripps had to stand 4 feet back from the urinal. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, yes. Okay.
That's a great way to kick off Essendon. Season 3 of Absolutely Essendon. We're talking about bloody Carlton Football Club.
We can cut that.
May they rot in hell.
Yes.
So moving right
in a
along,
nice way.
I just want to bring up a couple of things that's happened in the off season.
Yes.
You mentioned the skipper Zach Merritt landed himself a Godfather offer whilst he's still on contract. What's going on there?
So I don't know what was behind it. I am a little intrigued. He was already on a juicy, lengthy contract.
Sounds like Rick says.
So, but I think they picked that up and they said, Zach, no, we weren't serious. Let's just rip that up. We're gonna start again. And I would imagine. I mean, I don't know, but I would imagine it's because there was a fear that maybe another club still might come along and say, "Hey, Zach, do you want to come and enjoy some more success?" I mean, I don't know what would be the strategy behind it. Why would you go and do something that as a club?
He's on a contract, so they could come and say that till the cows come home. If the club is of the view that he's going nowhere, he's going nowhere.
So why would you do it?
Well, that's exactly the question. Now, look, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. He does, and he should be the best paid player at the club. For sure. I just wonder, though, why. It's to me a strange thing to do. Maybe in the sort of last year of his contract, you would do that, or you would actually extend the contract if that was felt to be appropriate. But anyway, Zach has, he's probably got himself a nice new Porsche. He's doing very well. Thank you very much. And good on him. Unquestionably, he deserves every penny he gets out of this football club. But yeah, just an interesting bit of list management going on there.
Look, well done to his manager that negotiated. That's absolutely what I'll say, because I reckon he'll be driving the fancy.
I mean, Essendon obviously got spooked by the off-season talk about St Kilda. I think they actually did offer him something, and he thought about it. Yeah. But in the end, he said no.
Look, if you're going to do it for any player, you do it for him. I mean, you look at his list of accolades. Like, there's just
he's definitely one of the he's probably one of the few current day players that you would say absolutely is in the best 23 for the Essendon Footy Club for this century so far.
Yeah.
I don't think too many other players in the current team could say that. So, yeah, well done, Zach.
Yes.
Look forward to him sticking around and delivering the goods on the field. Now that he's, I think he must be, what was he going to get $1 million? It must be something like that.
It'd be close to that.
So good on him.
Yes.
Good on him.
Yes.
And look, just another thing, I was interested to see, I don't know what your thoughts are, but every year we have a family day, usually to kick off the season. I noticed with interest that the football club decided to have the family day on a weekday after school had gone back.
Genius.
Isn't that smart? Now, what's going on with that?
I like it. You don't want to give the players...
What, do they have a limited supply of sausages for the barbie or something?
The Gatorade was running low. I don't know. I have no opinion on that. But it's just a stupid
thing. I mean, what were they thinking? That, that would be the perfect time for families with their kids?
In the end, they had to cancel it anyway.
They did, and we understand the reasons for that. So, of course, with the very sad loss of Dale Tapping, our senior assistant coach. I think Dale was going to be coaching the VFL team, this year.
Yeah, very sad.
But, tragically, Dale lost a battle with cancer, and, we're so sorry for his family and, of course, his colleagues, friends, and the football club in general in what has been... Guys, I mean, I know we try to have a little bit of a laugh on this show, but quite seriously, what a horrible week it has been. And
it's been
some real tragedies in the AFL scene. So we're not here to deliberate over that. It is a fact that, it's not a great week. And so the Essendon Family Day, unfortunately had to be cancelled.
Yeah, it did.
And
Yeah.
I think good on the club for having the common sense to
From
do
what
that.
I heard, he was a very popular bloke too. So
he was. And
Very sad.
will be sadly missed. So moving
Next.
right on. Now, we've
Yes.
covered Luke Sayers. We've covered Luke Sayers. Well, unfortunately, he wasn't covered when the photo was taken. Zach Merritt is now one of the best earning footballers in the world in the terms of AFL. We've talked a little bit about the family day. I want to talk about something particularly exciting, and that is Smoking Joe took a field trip out to the hangar. And I would love to hear what your impressions were. You saw training, you went out to,
yes,
with a
yes.
scoop in your hat
I
to take
did.
notes and to, harass and intimidate players.
Don't build it up anymore for the love of God.
What did
okay?
you actually, walk us through your experience on your day trip out to the hangar.
First of all, it was a stinking hot day, 35 degrees, and the players were out there, full sun. You wouldn't have lasted more than 2 minutes.
No,
you would have been in a coma.
Lewis Hayes would have been a worry out
just
there.
Quietly. No, I saw him. He was doing good work.
Like Casper the Ghost out there.
Yes, no. Well, he was spending a bit of time on caddy in their match sim. But first of all, it was good to go out to the hangar, and it's just good, nice to be close to the heartbeat of the club. But
did you feel something like when you obviously would have walked through the reception there and seen the wall of trophies and
no, I didn't do any of that. I went straight to the Oval. I wanted to see the players were out there, and I wanted to see what was going on.
And how big was the crowd?
Look, it was just a few diehards. I'd say there was definitely a dozen people there.
Right. Standing under all the shade that they've built there.
And let me tell you, it needed a bit of something.
No, there's no shade out.
There was none.
They have worked out how to keep you people away.
It was sweltering, but it was just good to see the players go. They was doing a lot of drills, obviously, bit of match simulation, because there's been a lot of talk in the off season by other supporters of the club on various platforms, channels, and there's been a lot of excitement about certain players. So it was good to go down and just assess it for myself. And all I can say is, oh boy, are we in for a big year.
So, right.
No.
So, from all jokes aside, you were not impressed.
No, that is not true. No, that is not true. My point is, yes, Dylan Shield looks amazing.
Right.
Yes, Sartis, Kako, very lively.
Great.
Very lively in the forward line.
But
Kyle, still dead-eye Dick with his kicking for goal.
Are we talking about Luke again?
No.
Sorry, go on.
So, a lot of positives. Caddy also looking great.
And I'm waiting for the punchline.
Because you get excited. My point is this: as a fan, you get excited, right?
You got sucked in, right?
Right.
Did you buy merch?
Almost.
Did you?
It was really. It was like, how can I part
Season
with my
25
money?
cap?
But no, my point is like you get excited. They're moving around well. They're all looking incredibly slick. But then you just think, how
that's sweat.
Will this? Yeah. Speaking of which, will this team? Will this hold up against a hardy Geelong defence, or will it crumble quicker than a J-Lo marriage? That's what you're asking yourself, and that's we won't have the answer to that, but it probably won't be long. It's probably 4 or 5 weeks away.
Well, I think you've okay. So I'm trying to read between the lines here. You were impressed, but are you more just getting caught up in the moment of seeing these finely tuned athletes?
Possibly. I want to go
in their
again.
natural environment.
I want to go again. I want to go back.
Because it sounds to me like there was not a lot going on in terms of the actual training drills that caught your eye to say, wow, he looks amazing. Did you see that, or did you not?
No, I did. I did. First of all, the captain, Zach Merritt, has not lost a yard. Let me tell you.
Okay, so
he is just laser-like focused. Still great speed.
So it was a match sim that you watched?
Yes, it was.
Right.
Yeah, very short, not a full length. They were just doing, it was mainly sort of more drills and set plays that they were trying.
Yeah.
So that was, but still, it's still interesting to watch. There was a separate sort of group that had Mackay, Parrish, Durham, Jones.
That's the rest in peace group.
Ridley, he didn't look happy. He didn't look happy.
Ridley, he needs to trade in his hamstring. They are on the kind of borderline injury list, that group. So
So I mean, I don't want to extrapolate too much, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
But there were definitely some positive. Saad El Houli kicking for goal. Let me tell you, that guy's a sniper.
I've heard that, and I've heard
he is just
deadly,
very good.
He's a left footer, right?
I cannot wait.
He's left footer.
I just cannot wait.
Did you know?
Yes. No.
Oh, okay. I think he is. Well, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I think he is.
But I've heard his disposal is pretty good. So, that's an issue. I mean, look, the truth of it is, I don't think we're any the wiser, to be honest. I mean, the feedback from the training track, from the normal pundits, including, our good friend over at Everything Essendon, Felix, there's been a lot of buzz, a lot of noise, a lot of positive vibes. But I've got to tell you, I'm a little more cynical. I think we've heard that all before.
Yeah.
And, I'm not completely sold. I think we've got a challenging year in front of us. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I think we're heading in the right direction. But, I don't see us suddenly leaping up the table, up the ladder, and competing for a final spot. I just personally can't see that.
I want to come to that because all the pundits are agreeing with you. No one is giving us much of a chance. But I like that. I would much rather that, because whenever we've been talked up, it's all just gone pear-shaped, right? So let's go back 12 months. We were getting excited as well. Then we had a couple of practice games where it wasn't looking great. Then we were worried about the first 8 rounds where there was a whole lot of travel involved. Was it six interstate games in the first 8 weeks, or 4 and 4?
Four interstate trips in the first 8 rounds.
And we thought we'd be 2 and 6 after round 8,
right.
and we were in front of that. Definitely.
I think we had 5 wins or something.
Started stronger. It was the second half of the year again where it fell apart, where we lost 6 out of the last 7 games, and the one game that we did win, we won by 1 point against Freo.
Right.
So started strong. We weren't feeling great. Started strong, then went pear-shaped. This year, I don't know. You have a particular. You think we may start slow and reverse it.
Look, that's my suspicion. Is that I think that it's a pretty tough draw. We've got a pretty tough draw. The team is significantly younger than it was last year. Funnily enough, we were talking about this beforehand, but a lot of people thinking of Essendon as being one of the younger teams. Last year, I think they were the 6th oldest. So we've actually dropped down in average age now to be, I think, the 4th youngest team, and only Richmond North and West Coast have a younger squad. So it brought in a lot of draftees. We didn't hit the trade table. We went for the draft. So they're all 17, 18, 19-year-old kids. I think, it's going to be a year of bringing in a lot of youth. Frankly, Brad Scott won't have any choice, because that's the list. It's a young list. So I suspect that in its own is going to make it hard for us to win games. Young kids, it's just difficult in a 23-game season for those kids to hold up for the whole year. So let's see how we go. I'm very positive about the direction that the club's taking. I think this is the important thing. A lot of people say, well, he's just being negative. I'm not being negative. I don't think we'll win more than 7 games. Honestly, I don't. But I do think we're going to see the sort of the green shoots of something particularly exciting, and that is, for the first time in a long time, we're building a team from the ground up, and that has got to be a good thing for this football club. Let these young kids develop as a team, grow together, learn together, play football together, and over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, they could become a successful side that really challenges for a top 8, but possibly top 4 position.
Amen to that.
I just don't think it'll be this year, personally.
So talking about rebuilding the team, so there was one player that left, Jake Stringer, who kicked more than 40 goals last year, and most people are saying, jam the 40 goals. We need to get the culture right at the club, and so I'd say we'd all agree with that. And as the saying goes, I think I've said it before, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And that's something that we've all been concerned about at the club for the last few years. And so with him leaving and Hind leaving, we're hoping that does.
Don't forget, Jake Stringer only kicked 22 goals the season before that.
Sure, I know, because you have this belief that he has an off and on.
Right, and I don't think it's just me. I mean, Stringer has shown, and I think he was at the Bombers for 7 years, that, he could turn it on when a contract was up for grabs. And I think that was the problem this season, or, the end of last season, when he was seeking the 2-year deal because, hey, I've just kicked 42 goals for you guys, where's the deal? Essendon stood their ground and did the right thing. And no, I'm not having a go at Jake. I hope he does really well. In fact, I think Jake might be playing in a premiership team in 2025.
Exactly.
So good luck to him. But then, that's at GWS, he's not going to be the main man. They've got pretty decent forwards that he's going to be playing with. And so, he will be, I think, a valuable player for GWS. I don't think he was going to be a valuable player for us. I think we have to start to develop some of these younger guys and put the pressure on them. Perkins needs to stand up. Jake Stringer leaving the side means that Archie Perkins has to be that high forward, that half forward, mid-sized forward. Caddy now gets a bit of room to move into. Young Kako. So I think that's the future of the footy club. And Jake, for all his great work at the Bombers, I don't think he was going to give that to us. So I'm not sad that he's gone.
Right.
And I think we've got room to now grow a more organic list from our youth for the future.
There's a couple of things I want to mention, just from my visit at track work, as it were.
Yeah.
There seems to be an intention to have Draper as a floating down to the forward line this year.
Yeah.
There seem to be the drills involving him and Langford working things in that forward line. Interestingly, when he marked the ball 33 metres out, 45-degree angle, did the side-on kick still.
Around the corner.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that...
How was he looking? He's cut the mullet.
Yeah, he's cut the mullet. Yeah, he was looking all right. Still, always got a bit to say. He's always that larrikin type, but good. Yeah, but good to have at the club. But I think with Draper, we want to see sort of him apply pressure all round to the opposition, even when he's not sort of he scares the hell out of them when he goes down forward because of his marking ability.
Yep.
But I think we just want to see a bit more pressure on him all round.
I mean, good pickup. I think Draper. There's some X factor with Sammy, as we all know. We love him. He's been a long-time friend of the channels. And, we see him as being an important part of the team. Now, what a year it is for him. He comes out of contract at the end of the season.
Yeah.
He goes into free agency. So, it could be he has an incredible season and everyone comes calling for him.
Yeah.
The world will be his oyster. So I expect Sam to have a huge year. And what I'm most excited about is him teaming up with Nick Bryan, who has been, from all reports, showing some real signs out on the training track.
May I confirm that? Also, looking.
Because you know how important the rucks are in the game of AFL football.
Yes, all right.
Smoking.
If you're new to the channel, we have this constant disagreement about the importance of ruck in the game. The other one I wanted to make mention of as well, and this was also why I was curious, is the Peter Wright factor. And what is the likelihood of him starting, in that first 23? And I can just... This is only gut feel, and this is just, again, I don't want to extrapolate too much from, my time down there. I don't know. I think there's a chance he may not be.
Look, from what I've heard, during the match simulations, he's been wearing the colour of the also ran team, not the likely starter.
I don't think they
team.
Call it also.
I don't know what.
Okay.
Just call the VFL.
The Bs.
Right.
Okay.
So he's been in the B team and not in the A team.
Right.
So, clearly, I think Peter Wright is at a crossroads. Yeah, he had that fantastic season where he picked up the best and fairest. Then signed up, I think, a 5-year contract, did his shoulder 3 days after. Was it 5 years? Might have been 4 or 5 years. Did his shoulder, missed most of the season. He came back in that incredible game against Carlton and kicked 5 goals when we blew Carlton off the park.
Yeah.
And then in 24, you may recall he had that infamous suspension after cleaning up that guy in Sydney. Softest decision by the AFL tribunal ever.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been the same player. I mean, he's lost all he's a confidence player. He's lost all his confidence. But I just fear that, what we know of of Peter Wright over his 9 seasons as an AFL footballer is he had one standout season and 8 very average ones. So I think there's a trend line there. That 22 season, may well have just been the outlier, and I don't think, unless he can turn it around, he's not going to be playing in round 1. I think the forward setup will be most probably, well, not most probably, but certainly Caddy, Langford will be your key sort of targets, and possibly Harry Jones.
Yeah, because Harry Jones was put on the wing in the last 2 or 3 games last year.
Throughout the season, he played a bit on the wing. Yeah,
with quite a bit of impact, I thought. So a bit of a swing player. So they may continue to run with that.
Don't know. I mean, it's an interesting point that you raise. I'm not convinced he's a wingman, but he did actually do okay when playing in that position. But I mean, Harry Jones, when you remember a few years ago when he had his kind of breakout season, if that's what it was, he kicked about 21 goals. But yeah, he floating across packs, pulling down a big mark. He could be the perfect sort of alternative forward to Caddy. If we can get that balance right. Gresham, Kako, you've got Alwyn Davey Jr., who I know you're not a huge fan of, but was apparently really lighting it up on the training track until he did his injury. There's a few small options up there. Menzies, of course. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Bombers set up their forward line, but I don't think Peter Wright will be in there. Certainly not in the first instance. Maybe if injuries happen, he'll come in.
Yep.
Or if he does have outstanding form in the reserves, but I don't see him being best 23 at the moment.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Who else were you looking to cover?
Well, I want to talk about Elijah Sartis, if we may. A lot of people going, what a wasted draft pick. Number 5 a couple of years ago in the draft. He did his meniscus in his first few weeks at the football club and missed most of his first season. I think he's played about 11 games or something like that, and a lot of those have been coming on as a sub. Poor kicking, poor disposal skills. That's been the catch cry from everybody. But I don't think anyone can deny that as a sort of an outside-inside mid, he really does look very good. Kicking was the issue. Now, it's clear that he's been working all off-season on his kicking. And again, reports that I've seen is that that's greatly improved and will continue to improve. So he's been, I guess, really like Sam Durham was last season.
Yeah.
He's been the guy that's really stood out this year.
That's what I was going to say. This time last year, we were getting very excited about Sam Durham. If he delivers anywhere near what Durham did, then that's exciting.
He looks really good. I mean, physically, he's bulked up. He looks strong. And, I think he's a dynamic player. I think he could be a long-term replacement for Parrish as that sort of clearance type player for us. Darcy's having his own issues with injuries and struggling for fitness, but, he'll be a part of the team for sure. But, Elijah Sartis really excites me because, let's be honest, we haven't had a great strike rate with our top draft picks. Yeah.
And
it would be just a tragedy if he wasn't to kick on as a decent player for us. So looking forward to seeing how he goes.
Yeah.
You don't get the number 5 jumper by being a hack. Sorry, Brent Stanton aside. But otherwise, really excited to see him. Yeah. And I think when you look at those younger mids, now this guy, was it Mick McGuan? I think he ranked our midfielders 15th in the competition.
Right.
But when you think about it, that's a bit... It's too early to call because Durham, Caldwell, Sartis, these are just young guys. I mean, they could really have breakout seasons. And my concern about ladder position could get blown out of the water if we could get, season best outputs from those guys.
Yeah, look, I want to see Sartis let's see him in a real game and see the results. I don't mean to pour water over it, but
it's all relative. If he's been the best on the training track, then God help us if you're saying he's not going to pull it off in the real game. Where does that put the rest of the squad, who haven't been quite as exciting during the off season? Ridley, talk to me about that. King Jordan of Jordania. What has happened to our great man?
He was in a separate group there. But
was that? I don't know.
Rehab? Wasn't it this time last year that he went to Qatar?
He did this off season.
Was this off season? Yeah. Oh, he went straight to Qatar. And what was he? And well, obviously that hasn't helped. Or,
No.
Well,
I mean, he might have had fun over there with the duty-free shopping, but
right. But
no, he's done
not in terms of his hammy.
Yeah, no, his hammy's just gone twang, and although not badly is the word, that he hasn't done a lot of damage, but he's not likely to play in the first practice match, but he is apparently running, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
The concern is that this is becoming just a repeating issue with Jordan, and he is such an important player for the Bombers. If you wanted to say who are our A-grade players, at his best, Jordan Ridley is one of our A-grade players. Yeah. And if you remember his comeback game against the Tigers in the Dreamtime game last year, he had like 38 possessions out of a half. Yeah. He was incredible. So if we can get him fit, we're a much better team. But my concern is that this is just becoming a repeating problem. Matt Guelphy, maybe not as important as Jordan Ridley, has also just done a hammy or a muscle, soft tissue injury again. So he's likely to be out for quite a period of time. There is a recurring problem with a lot of these guys. Let's pray that Zach Reed, who so far touch all the wood you can. Yes. That includes you, Luke Sayers. He's had an injury-free run so far. We want to hope he can get a chance. I don't know if he's been lighting it up on the training track. He's been solid.
He has.
But he has been injury-free, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, Ben Mackay. So if Ridley and Mackay's had a really, disrupted pre-season.
He has.
And look, to be honest, last year I think was one of the first years he had almost a full season of footy. He's had a lot of injuries when he was at North. So if Mackay and Ridley are going to be struggling with injuries, we're back to having Laverde as our kind of key defender. And no offence to Jaden, but he's just holding the fort. He's not going to be a standout defender for us going forward. So
well, Mackay this time I think was his ankle, right? But it's normally the knee.
Okay.
Isn't it? So I'm hoping that it's not that recurring knee issue.
Right.
Okay, so what about, was there anyone else you wanted to cover off?
One concern is Ben Hobbs. And, Ben Hobbs, I've always liked Ben Hobbs. I think you have as well.
Yes.
And,
he's gone very short with the hair, by the way.
Has he? Maybe that's the key.
It's menacing.
But he
almost
is not in the frame at the moment. And that's that. If you were to pick the team today, Ben Hobbs is not going to be in the team. I'm not sure he's going to make it, is my genuine concern. I like him, but I think he's slow across the ground. He's a pretty one-dimensional kind of player. I think we took him with pick 13, and so he was our first draft pick for that season a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And that's why, again, I think it's important that Sartis can do something, because we've got to get better value out of these high draft picks. Now, they come from the Dodoro era, so we all know that comes with a disclaimer. But, I'm a bit worried about Ben Hobbs. I'm not sure where he fits into the side. I'd like to sort of hear what the guys out there think.
Yes.
But, Hobbsy has not been setting the world on fire.
Don't write him off just yet. Yep. That's all I'll say. Then there's also the likes of Dersma that got injured late in the last season. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him return to the team. I thought he was a very important component. Kicked the occasional goal as well. Exactly, great goal celebration. That's important too. So there's a bit to look forward to.
Did you go to the Jack Jones Cafe while you were out?
No, I didn't. I just
didn't partake in some stale ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, no.
And lukewarm cappuccinos.
Next time, I'm going to go back. I mean,
it's the great man Jack Jones. He deserves a better cafe. Let me tell you that.
You think? Yeah,
he sure does.
Okay,
all right. So that was the wrap from the track. Well done. Yes, and I'm surprised that you weren't escorted off the property by the security. But
I wasn't expecting a red carpet.
You must have had your baseball cap.
Yeah, I was. I very much went to baseball cap and sunglasses because I didn't want to be spotted. Yeah. So this brings us now to 2025.
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
And the expectations. So after driving away from that godforsaken location where the hangar is situated, feeling a little excitement in my bones, then started thinking about, well, what are the smarties saying about Essendon's chances this year? So, and when I talk about smarties, of course, we're talking about the bookmakers, because I hadn't given it any thought until now. And so, if I may,
please,
let's start at the top in terms of who, and it's a fairly open market, I'll say that. We've got Brisbane as the favourites at $7.50. So they're the reigning premiers.
But is $7.50, that's quite long for a favourite?
It is, yeah. Well, for a reigning premier, generally it's a bit shorter. So I'm not going to go through everyone, but just who would you think is the second favourite?
GWS, for sure.
The Hawks at $8.50.
Oh, get out of here.
This time last year, the Hawks were in the bottom three, okay?
Right, yeah.
And so they had the year that they had last year. They had their very massive run at the second half of the season. Now, if I just may quickly rewind on our Twitter feed or X or whatever you want to call it, we asked the question: is the Hawks list further advanced than the Essendon list?
I recall that. Did we do a survey or something?
I don't know if we did a survey. We just asked.
The question.
Boy, did they come at us. And they're like, you guys are you're just idiots. That's clickbait.
Yeah.
You have no idea. How dare you suggest that the Hawks list was further advanced? Right?
I think they referred to us as champ. They might have said, yeah, you're good on your champ.
Yeah, probably.
So in that condescending
insulting way.
Yes.
Okay, so they're sitting up now as... Now, I don't know whether they deserve to be...
Well, we were right.
But I mean...
Hawthorn went past Essendon.
What a 12-month transformation. And so is that the list... or is it the way that the list was managed? Well, maybe save that discussion just for the moment.
Well, can I just make one comment on that? I don't think it was a 12-month transformation. It's been a 5-year transformation, because when, happy-go-lucky Sam Mitchell, the injector Sam, took over the coach, backstabbed his best mate, to be honest with you, to get the coaching gig down there.
Right.
To be fair... They just threw out all the deadwood, and by that has been ex-premiership stars.
Yes, but at this time last year, they were given very little chance.
Right.
Okay.
That's true, but they had, I think internally, they would have had a different view of that.
Okay.
I think internally they would have been going, we've got a team that's going to go places and we're going to surprise the competition. Will they surprise the competition this year? I don't think so. I'm not as confident that Hawthorn, they're certainly not second favourite in my opinion.
Okay. Well, if not for some bad luck, they could have gone another step further last year. But anyway, Collingwood sits at $9.50 on the same line as GWS, who I fancy.
Based
I think
on
you'll
what?
Agree. I don't know. But
what's Collingwood done that's going to take them from being outside of the top 8, having won very fortuitously a grand final the previous year? Had it not been for some dodgy umpiring decisions, they wouldn't have even made the grand final.
Right.
So what makes people think that they're the team that's going to go bouncing straight back up?
Maybe that's sheer weight of money. It's just a supporter base.
A lot of supporters.
A supporter base that just says, hey, my money's on them. And then so they're with GWS. And then you've got Carlton at $10 with Geelong on the same line.
That club is a car crash.
Now, if I was a Geelong supporter, I'd be a little offended that I'm on the same line as Carlton.
Very much so, yes.
You'd be taking umbrage at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the point.
Yes.
The point is, where is Essendon sitting at $67? Okay, behind us... Well, Saints on the same line, and then behind us is North, West Coast and Richmond.
No surprises.
Gold Coast, who we meet in the first round,
zero round,
who snubbed our season out last year,
they did.
With that come from behind victory.
Thanks,
they're
Mac.
sitting at $41. So,
well, that's value. That's a value bet on the Gold Coast.
Just said on the Gold Coast. Oh, yeah. You tossed it up for yourself, and then you put it away. You didn't even give me a chance to deal with it. Okay,
67 for the Dons.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, but then I'm thinking, well, they know. They're smarter than me.
Well, they didn't know about Hawthorn last year, did they?
Well, no, they did not.
They didn't.
No, they did not.
So they're not all seeing, all hearing. Look, I agree with that assessment by the bookmakers. I don't think we're,
that puts us
any better
15th?
off than
14th,
around. And that's my expectation. I think we're probably a 14th, 15th team. No big deal. Fine, we get a fantastic draft pick. Melbourne will bomb out this year. They'll give us their first round draft pick. We're gearing up. We're not going to be there this year. What we want this year is to see development, to see players come on, to see guys that have been on the list for a few years like Jones and Cox and Perkins and these guys to really start showing something, because frankly speaking, I don't think there will be a place for them if they don't.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. If we only win 7 games but we're competitive, we don't drop off the cliff like we have in the last 2 years, we take it up to the better sides but maybe just get beaten, that's all I'm hoping for. If we can do better than that, fantastic. What I don't want is a season of mediocre football, poor game plan, and we finish around 9th, 10th. Nothing to show for it. That's what I don't want.
I don't think the Essendon supporter base could.
No, I reckon they'll be universally in agreement.
There'll be serious. No, but I don't think that we could accept that happening.
I think we will. I think we will accept it. I think that this football club and its supporter base have now finally come to terms with the fact that we were and have been irrelevant for a long time. We're starting again. We drafted 6 or 7 players. The young kids, I don't even know their names. We've got so many new young kids, and
so
we're building. I think we've got to be patient. I think I know it's been said, but honestly, anyone who says we're not going in the right direction, I think are wrong. We're heading in the right direction, but we're not going to be contesting finals in season 25. Can we talk about our predictions, because we've got to wrap this up.
All right.
I thought we always do this at the beginning of each season. In a blockbuster season launch like this one, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't do our season 25 predictions.
Where are we going to finish?
So I've kind of suggested we're bottom 4, so that would mean, what, 15th? Is that right? 15th, 16th, 17th? Yeah, so 15th is my prediction.
Definitely finishing 8th.
You're saying we're going to play finals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm saying 15th, he's saying 8th. Breakout players, Essendon players. Give me 2 or 3. Jesus, if I put you on the spot?
Yeah.
It depends what you define breakout as being, right?
I'll put Kako. Yep.
Just
that's
the one?
it.
Just one breakout player?
That's it. Yep, that's all I got.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Get on with it. Spit it out.
Do you want me to name a couple as well?
Please.
All right, I will, because you've asked. I am going to say Angus Clark.
You just love to you don't
a young kid who will not play till probably midway through the season. He's physically not quite there.
Right.
But I am hearing some extraordinary things about this kid.
All right. Sorry, I want to add Sard El Hooley.
Okay, you can add Sard El.
All right. He'll come in at round 6.
I'm going to throw Sardis in, of course. I think Sardis is going to have a fantastic season this year. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to also, I mean, it's a little obvious really, isn't it? But I'm going to say Nate Caddy. I think if Nate Caddy can... if he can...
can't go him. He's been around.
He's played in 8 games.
All right, okay.
So they're my nominations for breakout player.
No, he's old news for me.
Yep, okay.
He'll be there.
Now, who's on their last chance?
Cox, definitely.
I beg your pardon?
Yes.
Are we talking about Sayers again?
Come on now.
Sorry.
Come on now.
Yes, I would agree with that. I think Nick Cox is...
He needs to show up early.
He's got to stand upright.
Or I don't think it's going to be a great season for him.
It could be all over. He could be a little bit...
Yeah. And can I say Perkins is not far behind. I think he's going to struggle to crack into that first 23.
Yep. Okay. So Perkins, Cox, tend to agree. I think Jones is also on that list. I think Menzies on that list. I think Alan Davies on that list. I think there's quite a few players that are on that list, unfortunately. But maybe that's going to be the thing that prompts them to, a better season.
Yeah.
Is the knowledge that this may well be their last chance. So that I think is why we're not a top 8 side. We've got too many question marks over too many players.
Yeah.
Who are you tipping for the flag?
I think it will be GWS.
Yep.
And as Stringer, he's going to grab a premiership medal for himself.
Yep. He'll do his.
Yes.
Allahu Akbar and all of that.
Thank the gods.
I tend to agree with you. I think GWS are going to be the team to beat this year on the back of a Jake Stringer 50-goal season. Wouldn't that just piss you off?
That'll hurt. Well, Joey did it to us. It'll be back to back.
He did.
Essendon plays sticking it to us.
Brownlow medal. Let's have it.
Nick Dacos, easily.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm afraid we're going to have to agree on that one as well. He's got to, right?
Yeah.
He's got to. He should have probably won it a couple of times already. Coleman medal.
I think. Wow. Curnow. I'll go with Curnow.
Yeah, Curnow. Yeah, I think he's every chance. I reckon. I got to tell you, I think it might be Jake Waterman. I'm going to go Jake Waterman.
Yeah. That's a very good one. That's the value play. Even though I have no idea what they're paying, but I think that's the value play. I like that.
So there we go. Curnow, Waterman.
It's a serious head of hair.
And finally, in our season 25 predictions, the Crichton medalist at Essendon, the big one. This is the big one, folks.
Yeah. Wow. Who's going to step up? Will anyone step up? I'm going to go with Durham.
Gee, look, that's a brave selection, but wouldn't it be great if he did? I'd love to see Sam win the Crichton medal. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, you could put this one in the bank. Nick Martin. Nick Martin will be the Crichton medalist.
Interesting choice. Yep. Okay.
So I think that was we had a couple of overlaps, but otherwise,
okay.
Otherwise
there you have it. Please share your thoughts as always. We enjoy the comments, and that's what we've missed most from our hiatus. So it's damn good to be back. We're hoping to pump out a little more content this year. Hopefully, time permitting.
Well, I was trying to think. Who are we like? I know The Cure just put out their first album in 16 years. And can I say, an absolute cracker.
Is it?
Songs of a Lost World, if you haven't listened to that.
Okay.
Give that a go. The Cure, I mean, they're a great band. But 16 years between hits. We're kind of borderline that, aren't we? We come out with one lousy video every couple of months.
Well, it's a bit Curb Your Enthusiasm. He would take a couple of years off, then he'd come out, do a season, then he'd take about 3 or 4 years off.
Would he?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel good.
Did it at his own pace, didn't he?
If it's good enough for Larry David.
Still beloved.
It's good enough for us.
All right, is that a wrap? Are we done? Thank you if you've made it this far. If you have, let us know, because we like to know. But thank you again for tuning in. Keep the faith.
Please, don't listen to me.
Yeah, no, don't. But you know what he's like now. You know what you're dealing with.
Have I ever been wrong?
Often.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you very much for we're going to be back very soon as the season builds up.
So much excitement coming. I mean, you don't want me to talk about it, but
no, I don't,
and so I won't. But there is some incredibly exciting things happening.
Yes,
some big guests coming in.
We do have 1 or 2 lined up.
When I say big, I mean very big.
As we build up to round 0, in which Essendon is participating this year against our old foe, Gold Coast Suns.
Well, what a huge way to start the season against the Lifesavers.
Yes.
So looking forward to that. Round 0, it all happens up at what's their stadium called?
The People's Stadium. Suncorp.
What is it? Run by the Communists or something? No, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, yes. Dimmer's up there. Dimmer and the boys. Is Dusty Martin up there yet?
No, I don't think so.
He will be.
No.
We'll kick off then. But before that, we play a couple of practice matches. I think we're again with this. Are we playing the Saints again? I think Geelong. Again. We go to Geelong or something.
Do we? Okay.
Either way, guys, we'll see you soon.
Back after those. Yep. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now. Go the Bombers. Bye.